All right, so Sony had their first State of Play Japan focused event yesterday. And the only major thing that was revealed in the realm of stuff that I would care about was a DLC for Elden Ring Nightreign called, I believe, the Forsaken Hollows. Now, I kind of have an interesting relationship, I feel like, with From Software at this point. I am somebody like many fervent gamers who thinks, From Software is amazing and they create incredible games. I've 100% completed Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, and the base game of Elden Ring. I have not spent a lot of time in the DLC there since I feel like it changed up the pace a little bit in a way that I think I was already burnt out on a lot of the fast fights in the base game by the time that came out. I have completed it, but not 100%. But I'm a pretty big From Software fan. I played just about all of their games. Not, obviously going back as far as like Kane's Field, but I played Demon Souls, all the Dark Souls, Bloodborne. Bloodborne is, maybe one of my favorite games of all time. The Armored Core games I wasn't super into, but when the last Armored Core game came out, The Fires of Rubicon, I believe it was called, loved that, played through that multiple times. I think that they are in a unique position where they deliver experiences that are, at this point, kind of within an oversaturated genre. I feel like the last few showcases or game shows that we have gotten has featured like a ton of Souls-like games. But while that's the case, From Software has been able to maintain this dominant position on creating Souls-like experiences that are actually really, really good. And they offer these incredible narratives and incredible gameplay. And it seems that their evolution in terms of their gameplay design and their story presentation continues to be like on this kind of upward rise through and through. And so, despite the entire lead up to Elden Ring Nightreign's release, which was the multiplayer roguelite Souls experience that came out earlier this year. It's kind of a hard game to describe. You drop into the map as if it's kind of like Fortnite style. It's only co-op. Well, I mean, you can play solo, but it's really built around this co-op experience. You play, for 3 days, then you fight a final boss and it resets. It is wholly unique and not something that I think a lot of people expected From Soft would release after such a successful run of these largely single-player focused narrative action RPG experiences. So it was definitely something that came a little bit out of left field and people probably weren't super expecting. And when I saw the initial stuff for Nightreign, which I guess would have been in 2024 at this point, I was not super sold on it. I kind of felt like for the first time in, I guess, over 10 years, having Dark Souls 3 released, I believe, in 2015 or 2016. So looking at a decade since I had not been kind of right on top of a FromSoft game that was coming out ready to kind of crack through it as fast as I can upon release. And in the lead up to Nightreign's launch, I felt that way the whole time. I was like, this is not something that's connecting with me. I'm not interested in like doing the co-op experience. Running solo seems like maybe the game wasn't built around it. I don't like that your progression is kind of resetting every time and it's kind of about finding this really solid loop and hitting these places to build up a strong character to get to the final day just to do it again. I literally felt all of those things. I was not going to get the game, and then the game releases. And I don't know what it is. Maybe VodiVidya just posts a video, my brain completely fucking shuts off, and I forget what opinions I have. But the game launches, and I see people playing it and talking about it, and I'm looking at the world, and it is Elden Ring. Like, the assets within Nightreign are pulled straight from Elden Ring. There are, like, bosses from other Souls games, which is, arguably very cool to see in this higher definition and Elden Ring setting where, the quality is a little bit improved. But these really are just Elden Ring assets dropped into this new environment with a new gameplay structure, basically. Um, and like I said, I wasn't on board. And the game comes out and I see people playing it and I'm like, oh man, they got me again. Even though I don't connect, kind of like when Sekiro came out, honestly. I wasn't like super into the more it obviously wasn't like historical, but the more historical setting, more realistic setting, like of Japan. It wasn't something that I immediately connected with, but then the game comes out and I gotta jump in. And Sekiro is obviously amazing and really felt like a strong evolution from the combat that was on display in Bloodborne, which is just fucking, once again, so amazing. So I got on that and loved it, right? Armored Core 6, like I talked about earlier, like wasn't on my radar. Hadn't played the Armored Core series. Got in, loved it. And so Nightreign comes out. I see other people playing it, and I fold. I get it, okay? And it's good. It's basically Elden Ring, which I already knew in my head I was burnt out on. I was, I'd played a shit ton of Elden Ring, the new game plus whatever. I played the DLC despite already feeling burnt out and didn't go back through to 100% and even beat all the bosses there. I beat all the main bosses, but not like the side bosses and stuff, because I was kind of burnt out on Elden Ring. I'm really waiting for whatever the next big project is that they go with, even if that is an Elden Ring 2, maybe that's part of my interest. Regardless, okay, this whole time, I knew I was against it. I knew I was like not connecting with it. It just wasn't going to be an experience that was for me. But despite that, the game releases. I convinced 2 other people to get it. Shout out Sato and Thomas. And I'm not into it. I play it. It's fun. It's cool. Like, we're running around. We're doing Elden Ring stuff. The verticality is kind of crazy. Jumping is kind of weird as fuck in a Souls game in this capacity. And visually, the things look beautiful. The idea, even the narrative stuff, which normally in most Souls-likes and most Fromsoft games a little bit obtuse, I enjoyed, but I just didn't connect fully with any singular part of it. I think it's a great game. I think it's for some people. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't like fulfilling enough to go through the experience as like a more traditional mainline, kind of Fromsoft experience. And the new tweak edition of the multiplayer centric stuff wasn't engaging enough for me to want to keep coming back to it. I also am not of a skill level to where I can just like solo carry hardcore, but also I'm not completely useless to the point that I can't help a little bit, pull a little bit of the slack here. But I did find myself getting into like a lot of lobbies with people who I don't even know what they're doing, just like throwing in the final day, just like going to the final boss and just jumping off a cliff or something. This is probably me coping for how bad I am. I didn't get good enough, but ultimately didn't connect to the game. I think it's great. I think it's for some people, just not the kind of experience that I want when I jump into a Fromsoft game. The first one in a decade that I really haven't devoted a ton of time to, despite probably playing somewhere in the ballpark of like 20 to 30 hours and beating a handful of the nightlords. And yesterday at this event, like I said, they announced the new DLC, which is going to be adding 2 new characters you can play as, a handful of field bosses. Artorias is coming as one of the day 3 bosses, I believe, which if you've played through Dark Souls, the games, you understand like how impactful of a character that is, how Dark Souls 1's DLC is maybe one of the best DLCs of all time, and how incredible he is in that. Well, he's come back, and you're going to get to fight him, and that's fucking cool, right? And I find myself again, all right? There's only one, I think, Nightlord boss, right? The Dreg something who's coming in. So it's not even like there's a huge amount of content. And then some changes to POIs. But Artorias is there, and there's 2 new characters. Maybe I'll like these characters more and want to play as them. And so I find myself, again, really scratching my head and going, man, December 4th is right around the corner. Do I jump on the Elden Ring Nightreign train again? Do I play myself again knowing full damn well that this game just isn't for me? I don't connect with it. It's not like a ton of fun, and I'm burnt out on Elden Ring stuff. And I just can't convince myself that I'm not going to fall victim to the same thing again here on December when VaatiVidya posts his first video about it, or people start, posting their gameplay and talking about how much fun they're having. I don't know. This is all just to say that I love Fromsoft. The new DLC is coming out for Elden Ring Nightreign, if you aren't aware, and maybe convince me, walk me away from the ledge of making the mistake again of investing more time and money into this game that I don't enjoy because I love From Software so much. All right, let me know your thoughts on Nightreign and the upcoming DLC in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.